On behalf of the Board of Directors, faculty, staff, and students, I welcome you to the 2020 Veterans Day program. As a veteran, this is a program I enjoy to attend each year, but unfortunately, we have to do it virtual because of COVID-19. But with this program is put on by our students to represent and show their appreciation for veterans. Thank you and enjoy.
Thank you, Dr. Kinney. Good afternoon, my name is Chris Narum Lowry, and on behalf of the Iowa Central Diversity Committee, I'd like to welcome you to our Iowa Central Veterans Day program. Thank you for your attendance today. As you know, it's important to take time to recognize the veterans among us and the sacrifices they have made on our behalf. We have many veterans assisting with our program today. Let's begin our program with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at our twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare were singing, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The Veterans Day history is important for every student and citizen to remember, especially at this time of year. Today, we celebrate veterans on this campus. November 11th, 1918 is generally thought of as the end of the First World War, though the Treaty of Versailles that technically ended the fighting was signed on June 28, 1919. In 1918, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed 11/11 as the first Armistice Day, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. There is always, to this day, a pause to remember the brave men and women who served and sometimes died for our country. Armistice Day is not only a piece of Veterans Day history, but a day celebrated around the world. On November 11th, 1921, an unidentified American soldier killed in the war was laid to rest in Arlington National Cemetery in D.C., in what is now known as the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And Congress on that day declared Armistice Day a federal holiday. However, similar ceremonies occurred at Westminster Abbey in London and the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, along with other victors of World War I. The American force that entered World War II was the greatest mobilization of the United States Army, Navy, Marines, and Air Force. In our nation's history, some 16 million people. 5 years later, the Korean War saw an additional force of 5.7 million more brave soldiers put their lives on the line. In 1954, after these additional conflicts prompted veterans organizations to lobby Congress for greater servicemen recognition, Congress amended the act which established Armistice Day. They struck the word armistice in favor of Veterans Day, and President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed it into law on June 1st, 1954. Veterans Day is often confused with Memorial Day. Memorial Day, which takes place on the fourth Monday in May, honors those American service members who have died in service to our country in battle or from injuries sustained in war. Veterans Day, however, celebrates all service members living or passed on and their brave sacrifices participating in maintaining our freedoms. Throughout Veterans Day history, we've used this time to give special thanks to the living soldiers and veterans who served in the U.S. honorably during both wartime and peacetime. And now, Sarah Rampton will read to us the American flag poem.
I speak from the wisdom of a long life. I first felt the vigor of wind on my multicolored face when I unfurled my 13 stars over 230 years ago. I have known 44 presidents, and I have traveled across continents, oceans, and deserts, and on the surface of the moon. I was there when my nation was born. I was in the hand of my first president in the blood and snow of Valley Forge. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I have earned the right to speak. The right paid for my freedom of speech is a price few remember or can comprehend. Most forget, but I still see in my memory those bright, beautiful young men who died for me at Porkchop Hill, Normandy, Iwo Jima, Pearl Harbor, the Coral Sea, Okinawa, Corridor, the jungles of Vietnam, and in Iraq and Afghanistan. I have fought in every American battle of every war since 1776, and when they died for me, I wrapped them in my love and draped my honor over their caskets. Those who died for my right to speak in freedom are buried in the Flanders Fields of France, the Punch Bowl in Hawaii, in Arlington, and Gettysburg, and in many other places under the sun. I fly proudly over the graves at all these places, praying then wars might end forever. I rise every morning to watch over the graves of our finest men whose years were short, but whose service was longer than we ever can measure. Because of those brave American patriots, I can fly atop the greatest buildings in the world. I can stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over institutions of learning and stand guard as the greatest power in the world. Stand up and see me. I am the most recognized symbol in the universe. Yes, I am the American flag. More than 1,300,000 lives have been sacrificed to give me the right to speak. I have been burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of countries I have helped set free. I have been stained, spit on, and defiled by my detractors. Yet there is no place on the face of this earth that knows greater freedom than my country. Freedom to each man, woman, and child to choose his life's work, to travel from state to state without passports, to attempt and succeed, to fail and not be cast in prison for failure. Freedom to save and build a fortune you may give away at the end of your life to your family, friends, or charity. Freedom to speak right, praise, question, and criticize anyone, no matter how high his station or rank. Freedom to worship or not to worship, as the mind and heart dictate. Freedom to borrow and build, to buy and sell, to make an honest profit in a free enterprise system. Freedom to start your own business and become a capitalist, to create dignified job opportunities for people who want to know the pride of working for a living. I am proud of the harvest of our land. Corn, wheat, cotton, apples, nuts, cherries, oranges, and peaches. I see the harvest of our 50 states, and I am proud, for we help feed the hungry of the world. Be humble and be proud of our greatness. I am particularly humble and proud when I am torn into strips and used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the battlefield, or when I am flown at half-mast to honor my soldiers, or when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving parent at the grave of their fallen soldier or son. We stagger at the eternal debt we owe to the untold number of American veterans who chose to set aside their personal ambitions and dreams to assure the well-being of our nation. Yes, be proud and be humble, enough to know where your glory and greatness come from. I am called Old Glory. My glory is the freedom that I give to every man, woman, and child in America. I am the world's beacon of hope and liberty, and all I can say is give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Yes, I am the American flag. I am your flag. I am the flag of freedom.
Thank you, Sarah. And now let's take the opportunity to hear from some of our veterans here at Iowa Central.
What made you decide to be in the military?
This was back in 2006, 7, whatever, right before the last one of those recessions hit, and basically I just needed a job, and I was a high school dropout, and they paid for me to get a GED.
My name is Shelly Hale, and I decided to join the military because I had different family members, but I most wanted to be like my father, who was a strong, non-fearful person when it came to his kids.
Well, when looking at this question, I had almost kind of wished I could say it came from some sense of like patriotism and those types of things, but that wasn't really the case with me. At the time, I was a kid, and I realized that I had some growing up I needed to do and some lessons to learn, and I also wanted the opportunity to travel around. And the military seemed like a good option for that. I certainly got that out of my experience with it. I think my sense of patriotism kind of came later, actually. So it was really, the reason why I joined was really about kind of just growing up, I think.
What is the most difficult part of being in the military?
Being away from family or anything, it's a lot of detachment.
The most difficult part for anyone in the service is being away from family.
The most difficult part about being in the military, I think, was the challenging situations that we were put into, challenging circumstances. For example, just something as simple as getting to know someone, like meeting someone when you're in a war zone is very challenging, right? You know, people for the most part are good, I think, and it's kind of hard to get to know, you know, people from other countries and show them we're good people and understand they're good people when you're sitting there with a rifle in your hand between you two. So I think that was probably the most difficult, I would say.
What is the best part about being in the military?
Probably the realization that you can do anything. Nothing's easy. You have to work hard for anything, but nothing's really impossible. If you really want it, you can go for it and you'll probably get it.
The best part would have been the ability that I would have had to travel.
The best part about being in the military was the people. In particular, the people that I was working with. There was a number of people that like I would have never met or hung out with under any other circumstances, and I'm, you know, friends and still in contact with many of them to this day, even though I haven't been a part of the military for some time. So yeah, definitely the people and just the relationships.
What location or place most impacted you during your service?
Probably Mannheim, Germany. I learned a lot about how the rest of the world sees America and how we kind of deserve some of it.
I would have to say it would have been Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. That's where I did boot camp at. And the reason being is you had to learn how to work as a team to get through your confidence courses, up and down different obstacles. And, you know, you had to rely on everybody.
I think with that, the location that had the most impact on me, I think, is my answer here is probably going to be a little bit different than others. I would actually have to say Iowa. And the reason for that is that as I had traveled around to other places, so like I've been to Iraq, for example, you know, I've been to Europe, I've been to Japan, I've traveled around many places, but all of those travels and like challenges I faced, it really helped me understand how good we actually have it in Iowa and in the United States. And so kind of just having that in the back of my mind and seeing everything else in the world, it really had a huge impact on me and made me really appreciate what we have here.
How are you using your military experience now? Like, what are you doing in your community?
Not really doing much in my community. I'm still kind of getting adjusted. Sounds weird for being out for almost 7 years, but yeah. But I'm using the voc rehab and some benefits to, do the auto collision thing and try to get somewhere and help out.
Right now, I'm currently using it in a way. It's a little bit selfish, but I'm using it to get through the loss of both my father and my boyfriend within 4 months of each other in 2019.
So with what I've learned in the military that I bring out of it are really two things. First off, I'd say leadership. You learn a lot about leadership in the military. I mean, that's kind of one of the big major things that you're taught. Leading outside of the military, though, is a little bit different than leading in the military. So I actually kind of had to learn some lessons outside on that too. And then the other thing is just making and keeping standards. So the military is really big about standards, and I found that especially as a teacher, it's very important to find, understand, and maintain those standards.
As a veteran, what does Veterans Day mean to you?
For me, it's weird because I'm probably not all that patriotic for a veteran. It's mostly a day that I kind of appreciate that a lot of the friends, the brothers and sisters that I had while I was in get remembered for what they may or may not have lost.
It takes on a different meaning because I know now the sacrifices that people make when they go overseas, knowing that there's a chance that they won't come home to see their families, watch their kids grow up.
So Veterans Day means to me really two things. The first one being is that it's national recognition of individuals who have been willing to put themselves in harm's way to help protect our way of life. And I think that that's an important thing as a nation, that we take time to recognize those who do that. We haven't always been great about that at times, specifically thinking about during the Vietnam War era. We haven't always been great about that. But we are really good about it now, I think, as a country. The second thing I'd point out that Veterans Day means to me is it really serves as a reminder for myself that there still is more important work to be done. Just because I went and served and tried to do what needed to happen to help to do my part, others continue to do that to this day, and I need to remember and recognize them, along with me making sure that I'm doing good things back here at home to make our community a good place.
Thank you to the veterans for sharing their stories today. And now, Jeremy Smith and the Iowa Central Marching Band will share a musical tribute. Central Marching Band. And now we're going to send it to the BHS Auditorium for the Veterans Candle Lighting Ceremony.
Today, on Veterans Day, we honor those who have served. We acknowledge the sacrifices and struggles that those who have and those who still serve our country. This simple ritual of thanks honors those who have served.
We light these candles to honor the veterans of the United States.
To those past, let this candle be a symbol of your bravery and loyalty.
We light these candles to honor the veterans of the United States.
To those who still serve, let this candle honor your service.
We light these candles to honor the veterans of the United States.
To those who are currently in harm's way, let this candle serve as a beacon to light your way home safely.
We thank you all for keeping us safe, for your sacrifices and for the struggles that you endure for all of those who live in this country.
So much for attending this event. I'd like to thank those Iowa Central students, faculty, and staff who participated in this program. Thank you for the Iowa Central musicians who shared their talents with us today. It was lovely. Our Iowa Central musicians went out of their way to make this a special remembrance through music, and I am thankful for their hard work and talents. As always, on a personal note, I want to thank my dad, Sergeant Major Charles E. Neeram, for teaching me the value of faith, family, and duty to country. He's shown me his lifetime commitment to his country and the meaning of honor and patriotism. My dad has instilled in me and my 12-year-old son the commitment we need to make to our veterans, those who have died and those who continue to serve. We can learn so much from the veterans among us, and we have a responsibility to teach future generations. Not only is it important for us to remember to thank our veterans for their service, but it's equally important to remember those who continue to serve our country today. There are many families who will go to sleep tonight missing their loved ones who serve in our military, who are stationed somewhere fighting for the freedoms we enjoy today in our country. Thank you to all our veterans, especially those here at Iowa Central, and God bless America.
Conduct, of chivalry, of those who guard this beloved land. An ideal so noble that it arouses a sense of pride, yet humility. An expression of the ethics of the American man at arms. Duty, honor, country. Those three words build courage when courage seems to fail. Regain faith when there seems to be little cause for faith. Create hope when hope seems forlorn. The American man at arms. Above all other people, prays for peace, for they must suffer and bear the deepest wounds and scars of war. Duty, honor, country. The unbelievers will say they are words but a slogan or a flamboyant phrase. Every demagogue, every cynic, and every hypocrite will try to downgrade them to the extent of mockery and ridicule. The code which those perpetuate embraces the highest moral and law, and will stand the test of any ethics or philosophies ever published for the uplift of mankind.
around 1,000 campfires on 100 battlefields, listening for the witching melody of the faint bugles and blowing reveilles, far-off drums beating the long roll. This is the story of the American man at arms. Their name and fame are the brighter birthright of every American citizen. In their youth and strength, their love and loyalty, they gave all that mortality can give. They have never failed us. Were they to do so, a million ghosts in an olive drab, in a brown khaki, blue and gray, would rise from their white markers, thundering those magic words: duty,